Welcome to the RemoteLab guide for IBM Flash Copy Manager. In this lab, we will demonstrate features and functions of Flash Copy Manager for Exchange, including message and database recovery, as well as integration into TSM. This lab has already been configured for all three components, Flash Copy Manager, TSM, and Exchange 2007. While the lab utilizes Flash Copy Manager 2.1, version 2.2 does support Exchange 2010. To begin, we'll click on the Start menu and open the Flash Copy Manager Management Console. Once open, we'll expand the columns on the left until we get to our Exchange server, TivStore1. This is our Exchange server and our local host for this lab. Right-click to open the Backup and Restore GUI. This module starting up is actually the data protection agent for Exchange. This component, which comes as an add-on for TSM environments, comes standard with Flash Copy Manager. We'll click the first storage group and notice on the VSS backup destination we have three different selections: TSM Server, Local, and Both. In this lab, we have Flash Copy Manager configured to use both TSM and local targets, but it should be noted that Flash Copy Manager is a standalone product and does not require TSM to provide the features shown in this lab. If Flash Copy Manager were set up independently, we would only have local as an option. For our backup purposes, we're going to select both. In the backup type, we have full copy incremental, differential, and copy without integrity checked. Most commonly, full or incremental are the selected choices. For our purposes, again, we're going to choose full. Now that we're ready to click our backup, we'll hit begin. The backup starts and Flash Copy Manager is communicating with the VSS components, which quiesces Exchange, issues a LUN snapshot, and completes the copy in the background using the disk subsystem. This highlights one of the advantages of Flash Copy Manager over traditional backups. In a traditional backup, the application is impacted for the duration of the backup activity, which is occurring in an online fashion while the data transfer takes place. For very large systems, this can take quite a while. Using snapshots managed by Flash Copy Manager, the application is only impacted for a short while as the physical copy takes place on the back-end disk subsystem. For TSM environments, we have the additional advantage of being able to offload that backup. We can proxy through a secondary host, access the flashed LUN, and send the data directly to TSM. This helps minimize the impact of the application host during the backup window. Now that the backup is complete, we'll click on Restore and we'll view what backups we have showing as our active copies. When the screen shows up, we'll have three different backups. We'll have a legacy backup and we'll have two VSS backups. You'll notice we have one from the TSM server on legacy, and that's left over from the old staging when it was pre-configured. We have our two VSS backups, of which are fulls, one going to TSM server and one going to local. Both backups are identical, and we can use either one in a restore operation. Before we highlight how to restore an entire database or storage group, we're going to try to do a message level recovery first. So we're going to go into our Exchange environment. We have two mail users set up, Bob and Sue. At this point in Sue's mailbox, we have one message from Bob listed as a test recovery message. This will be the message that we highlight to illustrate recovery of an independent mail message within a mailbox. So we're going to delete this message, return to our data protection module, and under restored options, we want to do replay restored logs only. If we replay the restored and current logs, after we restored this, it would redelete the file or the message. We'll mount our database, and we're going to click on Utilities, Mailbox Restore. We'll add Sue mail user to the selected mailboxes, and our backup date. By default, it gives us our current date and our current time. This is essentially a point in time value where we can select a different date or time to target a specific backup if we're looking for some specific criteria. In the subject text, we'll type in recovery, which is our keyword we're looking for in the mailbox filter. If we left this area blank, it would actually restore the entire mailbox. For these purposes, we're also going to choose to restore items to the Exchange server as opposed to an alternate mailbox or a PST file. When we click on Restore, it will connect to the local agent, invoke the VSS operations similar to the backup operation, obtain our data, and place it into Exchange. If we were set up with a TSM integration and the data we're actually targeting had made its way over to tape, this actual process could take a bit longer. Once the restore completes, we will jump into Sue's mailbox and validate that we actually got our file back. And there's our message we were targeting prior. So this highlights and this illustrates a way to actually restore an individual message from a mailbox. Next, we're going to illustrate how to actually recover an entire storage group. And to do this, we're sort of going to simulate a worst case scenario. We're going to log off here. We're going to stop Exchange. And we're going to go to the file system layer, and we're actually going to delete our entire storage group. We'll bring Exchange back online, and just to validate, we will connect in, we'll try to connect in as Sue Mail user back into Exchange, but we will receive an error. So we'll go back to our web page, we'll go back to the data protection module, and this time we'll click on the entire storage group as our recovery option. Again, we'll choose a local method. We're not going to get it from the TSM server. And we'll have the same choices as before. A little warning message. We'll hit yes. And as the data is coming back, we'll validate on the Exchange file system. We did get our storage group to come back. Data protection reported a successful restore. And if we go back to Microsoft Exchange and log in as Sue Mail user, we should have our data back. And there we go. So those are two high-level restore scenarios in which you can utilize Data Protection Manager and Flash Copy Manager to recover and restore your environment or individual mail messages or mailboxes. In addition to the manual process, Flash Copy Manager does offer automated backups. You can use a scheduling component within Flash Copy Manager, which will schedule tasks within the Windows Task Scheduler. It's important to ensure that the service is running with adequate Exchange privileges to the environment. In addition, we can look at TivStore 1 and we can get a summary of a dashboard of our recent backup activity and backup activity and storage capacity. If we refresh, we'll see it populate in, and that is our recent activity we've had within the Flash Copy environment. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the lab. If you have any questions regarding Flash Copy Manager or TSM, please contact your IBM representative.